Multimeters with their built-in little stand things. Very convenient to sit on the bench and let you work on it instead of just having the meter itself flat so you can actually see the screen. But sometimes it would be nice to have one of those meters with the strap on it with a magnet on the top so you can just stick it to something nearby and let it dangle out over the work surface. Or if you're working on an electrical panel or something like that, you don't have a table to put it on, you just stick it on something and let it hang there. Maybe sometimes I'd like to be able to just take it and have it suspended here, dangling, and I can still work on stuff and just look up when I need to check the measurement. I was looking at the case that my X-Tech clamp-on current meter came in. This doesn't have a magnetic strap either, but the carrying case strap reminds me of the material that would tend to be associated with one of those magnetic attachments for a meter. And I started getting some ideas. I have lots of these tote bag things that pretty much come free with stuff sometimes, and this material looks awfully similar. The free bag is going to be cheaper, but, well, the ideas keep coming. I have these strong neodymium magnets I recently got, 10 by 20 by 2 millimeters. So if I stack them all together in 2 groups of 5 and they stick together like that. So there's some things in this bag, and the weight of the bag is definitely more than the meter. So if these magnets can hold the bag up, I think we're in business. I will put the magnets under the strap and pretend I have some sort of a metal object I want to suspend this from. No problem! So if this stack of magnets can support the weight in this bag, they certainly can support this meter. The handle on the bag is a convenient size for this. The whole bag is the same material. I could just cut a lot of stuff out of this, but for now I cut off one of the straps. Since these probes are very sharp and I already had one incident, I'm going to take these off for safety reasons. I was trying to find a non-invasive way to ultimately mount this to the case. I could try drilling holes and slots and all kinds of things, but I noticed this is removable. If we go on the inside of the case, this just pops out. If you bend this back a bit and push it in, it pops out. So this is kind of like a belt buckle. If you can take this strap and feed it through here, bring it in, wrap it around, and then back out here, you don't really have to break anything. And you can always undo later if you change your mind or find a better way to do it. So I'm going to go with that. But first, I need to get these magnets secured into here. I want to have this folded over and have the magnet up here. So we need an epoxy applicator, toothpick, and something to mix it on. Compliments of last mailbag. All right, let's make a magnet strap. So I have the material folded in half, and I'm just laying the magnets flat down up at the tip, and I'm going to glue it on to the fabric, and then maybe glue the fabric together and just try to keep this all together. So it's just laid in flat. So I'm going to use 2-part epoxy and hope for the best. So one good use for a spudger is to just sit there and hold this magnet in place while I try to epoxy it. And this allows me also to apply some force here and get it really pressed into the fabric. And the magnet itself will pull the weight down. Perfect! So I'll let this sit and cure, and later I'll have to come back, flip it over, and do the other side when I confirm everything is good. Well, this has been drying for a while. I ended up trying to clamp both sides down at the same time and get it done faster. Of course, the epoxy kind of worked itself through, but that's okay. For the purposes of a prototype on a workbench, it fits right in. So with this loosened on the back, I'm going to thread this through on the top side and then loop it around and back out on the bottom side of this. So it comes back out underneath, goes in on the top like a belt. The left side popped down fast. Now I just pop down the right side. So that's back in. Now this is just sitting here underneath, and it's enough to hold it. This can still close down. You can still stand it up. But now we've got this extra magnetic mount. So the meter still fits back in. Just like normal. Sit it up. Or mount it. So there it is, non-invasive. We can always remove it if we want. It just sits there and can come into play when we want. And it comes right off because you've got this pull tab. So if you just mount it free hanging like this, and it's hanging in the air, it'll lean inward a bit and angle down, which may actually be an advantage depending how high up it is from your work surface. And that happens, of course, because it pulls from right here, so it has a pivot point. I was trying to think of ways to make this more rigid, but ultimately it still wants to pivot. The only way I could think is if I wanted to actually drill a hole right through the top of the case, bring this up through here, and then it will hang perfectly straight if that's what you want. But if you're mounting it somewhere like against a surface like a cabinet where the bottom can hit that, it keeps it straight anyway. It's just when it's dangling. One of the other useful applications is when you don't have a shelf surface to rest the meter on. If you're working on the electrical panel, you just use the magnet tab now. That's not going anywhere until you are ready. And then it comes right off. Well, I'm happy with that. So now the next time I have a cluttered workspace, but I have something metallic like a shelf bracket, I can still work.